Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? Hair's better for my hat. I am. So, again, cancer connoisseur, you are. Well, I mean, you're not early. You're here. Um, just as I'm getting started. But if y'all have been following, Friday I was planning on streaming because my new stream schedule I am going to really try and stick to is going to be, and timing allowing, like, within a margin of like an hour or two, but will be kind of around this time: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Except I've been sick, and I am still sick. I was sick on Friday. I thought I was getting better. I think at this point it is a combination of just stress, worry, mostly the fact that I've been working nonstop and don't yet have a lot to show for it, which is very frustrating. Bye, baby. Good luck.
Thank you.
You're just gonna go. Oh, wait. Um. So yeah. On that note, uh, money is still really tight. I cannot believe how, because I put out a video. By the way, if you haven't watched the videos lately, please just go throw them on in the background. My views are fucking hurting lately. Really hurting. Um, and I think my next couple videos will do better, but in the meantime, literally anything helps. Uh, but I mentioned, I talk about in the video about the Trump vid to send your family, I talk about how I just, like, you know, price increases on groceries and all that shit. The stuff that everybody's kind of thinking about. But it's one of those things that I go to a grocery store, and I try and keep a decent stock of fresh food in the house so that we can, and not like a lot, like my fridge is never fucking full. Um, but like enough to be like, okay, I'm gonna make the pork chops tonight. I'm gonna, like that kind of thing. And it's gotten to a point where a regular grocery store visit is 50, $60. Um, and I look at what I'm getting, and it's just like, it's not one of those things where like, oh, millennials need to cut avocado toast. It's just like, okay, no, I'm getting some food for my cat. I'm getting some paper towels. I'm getting toothpaste, and like, it's so fucking, it's very frustrating. And on that note, I am, yeah. I hate begging. I hate fucking begging. But whatever. Um, as a project update, for those who don't know, and I'll handle all this business at the top before we get into all the shit with the Democrats, because yay. As a project update, the Destiny video is still coming along. I am hoping, and this is part of me like really busting my ass constantly, barring any other big roadblocks, that will be out before the end of the month. And I completely lost. Yeah, I'm definitely sick. I completely lost my fucking train of thought. Yeah, the Destiny one is so the Destiny one's interesting as a like puzzle to put together, because I'm finding it. Most people in their fan bases, whoever argues against it, like you get the regular pushback. You get like people, the rare Brianna Wu fans saying that, oh, I was just mad at her because she is pro-Israel or whatever. Synthetic Man fans saying like, I just can't debate his points or whatever the fuck. Matt Walsh fans saying like, oh, you're just a lib cuck, whatever. The thing with Destiny fans is that they are all pedantically, and I cannot say, as well versed in how they're used, but they are pedantically aware of like argumentative rhetoric and technique, which means I have to like structurally fasten up all the bolts. I have to make sure the shit is locked down tight. Oh, hey, Savvy writes books. I forgot. Oh yeah, I meant to tell you last time I was on stream, but unfortunately, Get You Some Nuts has recently become a part of my regular vocabulary, and I have you to thank for that. You fear how Destiny will react to the video? I don't. Yeah, the family lawnmower. I mean, I've been doing research on the Destiny video for like I've been focusing on it for weeks, but I've been doing like kind of side research as a side project for months. Just in background stuff, but like in the last week, I listened to probably like 30 hours of his content. And it's so on one hand, it's fascinating because he is legitimately a very good debater. And part of the like process I go through with the thing I enjoy is a strong word, but the thing I find, let's say, intellectually stimulating about the process of going through these deep rabbit holes and people's content is being able to piece together how their mind works, or you know, kind of assert that, because at the end of the day, I'm not inside their head. But when you have hundreds of hours of content online, you do see people's reasoning, and that's really I try and stick with a kind of because, you know, the other thing is that Destiny's fans they're going to call it a hit piece. Everybody's going to call it a hit piece, whatever. But the goal of my kind of deep dives on internet personalities isn't to like smear somebody, because usually they've already kind of done that themselves, you know. Putting things like Brianna Wu's shitheadery into context for people, or tying it all together is kind of the end goal. But to do that, I don't just want to like list off like, here's all their sins, here's why this, that, and the other. I want to really try and understand why they're coming from where they're coming from and where that is, specifically. And so like that has been a fascinating ride with Destiny. Because, and this is particularly in relation to his attitude towards the left and people who would be called more progressive than him. He is just so... He is so much more hateful of people who would otherwise agree with him on a ton of stuff. Except for, you know, some economic things. And he has nothing but just like venom and vitriol for those people, but then will cozy up to, and this is all in the video. But the other, you know, whatever. I don't need to really, I do this every time I'm in the process of writing one of these long videos. You'll know, You'll probably notice if you go back, like look whenever I do a stream before I put out like a big video project, and I won't be able to not talk about it because it's just like in such a headspace. Yeah, Savvy, you get it. I kind of understand this concept. I've critiqued so much Ben Shapiro at this point. I fully understand how he reasons his arguments. Matt Walsh, however, openly makes no sense and is just evil. Yeah, I think that's a like that's one of those things you have to come back to, is that like. And this is one of the problems I think I run into with Destiny, is that Destiny really sells himself and models himself as, you know, he bases all of his arguments on facts. He tries to argue in good faith. But the problem with that is that I think he is far too credulous in thinking that everybody he's engaging with is going to do the same. Or he is ignoring the fact that other people are just acting like they're doing the same. I think his interactions with Nick Fuentes are a great example, where he will just sit there and try and explain concepts like genuinely to Nick Fuentes, and they'll have a back and forth as though Nick Fuentes is not well known to be a capitulating grifter who will just like nod along and pretend to be normal to like weasel in to having more exposure. Like it's very frustrating to watch. But the thing I will like give his flowers for, I will not try and take away. The dude is good at debating. And when you watch the way that he will structure things, it does make sense a little bit why he is so ready to debate so many red pillars, manosphere dipshits, right wingers, alt-right people like, Owen Schroyer. There was one particularly scathing debate that I watched that was just like, it was just like watching a karate master whip a toddler around a room. Like, it was just fucking brutal. But when you watch so many of his things, you come to kind of see the patterns that he moves in. You come to kind of see like the way that he will layer little jabs, the way that he will very specifically memorize definitions, which is a good thing. But then use those things to like undermine the confidence of somebody else, and then as soon as they falter, that's when he strikes. It's fascinating the way he operates up there. Savvy writes books. I'm excited to hear your take on Destiny. His debate with JonTron was really good, and you're spot on that he has real debate skills. It makes him all the more dangerous because dude is nuts. Yeah, it is very frustrating watching him because, again, he like in his kind of the more rationalist, the center left position that he likes to argue from, a lot of the shit he says makes sense. And the reason that I think so many people don't quite know where to put Destiny is that in a lot of ways he does align with what would be called, a couple years ago in like 2016, 2017, whatever, what would have been called the dirtbag left. People like Chapo, people like Vosh, people like Cumtown and shit like that. People who are willing to make these crass jokes, who are not as fucking handholdy and sanctimonious about, identity politics, and understand that like most people are fucking fine with a lot of that shit. The problem with Destiny is that it feels like instead of being based in any like more progressive principles, it's all based in his just need to be a reactionary edgelord at his core. Like his I guess upbringing's a strong term, but his origin story being just like a troll, and that's kind of what he still is. Like that's like when you watch those debates against Owen Schroyer and stuff, the things he is doing tactically is just trolling. He is just like, you mad bro, this dude, as he just melts down and starts, blabbering on about, America in 1776 and all this shit. And like, so yeah, that makes him look great. He has found a way to weaponize and commodify trolling. And the problem is that he uses a progressive guise, but he really isn't in any way. He is self-interested, certainly, but he is not interested in any actual progressive causes, which is very frustrating. Because it's like, damn, dude, if you weren't such a and really, I guess the self-interested, the self-motivation is kind of where all of the criticisms of him, like, it all leads back to that. Like the fact that he like all but abandoned his son, the fact that he has ruined so many relationships, the fact that he just like fucks whoever, whenever, with no regard for anybody else, the fact that he will, like, again, just platform like actual Nazis credulously. There's so many little things that just tie back to like the only reason you would do all of these things consistently is if you did not care about the outcomes outside of your own financial interests, or your own, libidinal interests, your own immediate pleasure, which is the other thing, is that I think he is very much I don't know if you, like, hedonist is a strong word, but he seems to revel in a level of like, again, debauchery seems so, Roman. But yeah. Yeah, he does. He does call himself the omni-liberal. Sadist. See, and here's the thing. I don't think he's a sadist because I don't think he cares enough about other people. And I don't like pathologizing people. I don't like, and I talked about this with the Matt Walsh thing, is that there were so many things in the Matt Walsh video that led me to the conclusion that the dude is probably autistic in some shade, but I didn't want to say it in the video. But the way I laid out my argument, the way I laid out everything I had observed, a lot of people in the comments were like, yeah, was Matt Walsh autistic? And I was like, you be the judge. Because I don't like speculating on people's mental health, if they're undiagnosed with something. Like, that's just, it is very low-hanging fruit, and it doesn't really prove anything. I can say anybody is, oh, they're crazy, they're psychopath, they're sociopath. And then somebody will say, like, well, technically, sociopath is this, and, like, it does nothing but undermine my argument and come off as an insult. But in terms of Destiny, there are certain things that I can say. Like, I can't officially call him a narcissist or a sociopath or anything, but he does have, like, a ton of antisocial tendencies. And these are things that, again, he would admit. He has admitted things that I am showing. Like, he has said this shit on camera. He was like, yeah, I'm bad with people. I'm terrible. I don't care about other people's feelings. Like, just stuff like that. And it's the real problem with somebody like Destiny is that there's so much to go through. There's so much to go through. That I don't know. It's very frustrating because I can sit there and watch, a 2-3 hour video of him going in like a red pill, like a fresh and fit or some shit. And stand on his opinions and stand on like, oh, well, this is what I think and this is what I think. And he's kind of like, he goes into these spaces and these podcasts and he has a very different demeanor. He has a different game face than he does in debates. Because in debates, he's a fucking bloodhound. Like, if he's debating Owen Schroyer or Nick Fuentes or like people he would be friendly with otherwise, if the lights are on, he has a mask on. He is a fucking like just beating the shit out of somebody in a debate. Like, that is a bloodbath. But then in these podcast settings with people who, he's sitting across from people who have admired Hitler, people who've been like, oh, Hitler's right. People who have said like heinous shit about women, people who have said heinous shit about every minority, people like Myron Gaines and Nick Fuentes and Sneeko and all this stuff. And he's just incredibly cordial and polite and, will laugh at their jokes. And there's this argument that I know a lot of people would level, and this is the thing has become kind of the point of many think pieces, like, liberal columnists will rise, like, is this what we need to branch out and reach out to disaffected young men and the people who are feeling... And I think, like, there are things that he does that I'm like, yeah, like, that is correct. Like, the way that he will acknowledge, and they'll talk about how, men and men's mental health isn't taken seriously and all this stuff. But then, and he will push back on, because then, somebody like Sneeko or somebody like Aiden Ross or will say some dumb bullshit about like, well, that's just how men are wired. Men don't need this shit. And then Destiny will have a very articulate response. He will say something that I'm nodding along with. I'm like, yeah, like you've got it. It's not just, like, it's not as simple. It's not as cut and dry. He's really good at... But here's the frustrating dichotomy. He's really good at knowing when an issue is more nuanced than somebody else is arguing, which makes it all the more frustrating when he will argue something and try and flatten it down and strip all nuance out of something that, like, an economic issue. Like this comes back to when he's talking about, taxing the rich and how he hates college tankies and leftists and stuff. And it's just like, and any leftist or more progressive than him side of things, he does that. He flattens it down to, oh, they're just, crazy leftists with no institutional power and all this stuff. And it's like, I mean, Zoran just got elected, dog. Anytime there's a politician who has more leftist and more progressive policies, they get elected, dude. And it's just, I don't know. It's frustrating. It is a constant line of frustrations, like listening to him. And this is, by the way, this is just like the first half of the essay I'm talking about, how he argues, why he picks the people he argues with, how it benefits him, how it plays into the attention economy. Because really, it's going to be a deep dive also into this debate space. And then the other half is like all the, because I keep seeing people in chat, the other half is going to be like sex pestiny shit. Because there's so much of that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, garlic fries. Destiny thinks he knows way more than he does. He admitted he hates reading. When he argues bad opinions, it really shows. There's one of the more early videos of his I saw, he was arguing against fucking blackface doer Brittany Venti. But it was so frustrating because it was that stupid ass era of leftist arguing online where people like Destiny and Vosh, for some god-fucking-forsaken reason, decided it's going to be a good idea to really die on the hill of, yeah, there should be legalized child pornography, but only in a certain setting, and only because it will help pedophiles not offend. And, like, it's so fucking gross and frustrating to listen to that shit. Because for some fucking reason, I don't know if it was just, like, that rationalist, like, need for everything to be evidence-based coming out of the kind of internet atheist era where you had this kind of split between a lot of leftists and more, grognards that came out of, like, Gamergate and shit. Which is kind of when Destiny and Vosh and people like them rose to prominence, but it's such a stupid talking point that has turned into such a fucking stain on anybody who argued its legacy, because it's, on one hand, it is, it is the reactionary point is to go, well, no, you're enabling pedophilia, you're gross for that. And there's a more nuanced discussion, quote unquote, to be had there, but by people who are qualified to talk about it, because in the public space, any defense of it is a defense of it. And it's just like, no, because what the thing he was specifically arguing about, and by the way, I will say, I do not think this is his, I hope this isn't his opinion. Who the fuck knows what his opinions are anymore? But I think that he would no longer advocate for this, hopefully. But his point is that there was some study that said that, if you can lower the rate, like if you can give people who would hurt children content that would assuage that need or whatever, and his whole argument was that the humane or the morally correct way to do it was because there is already CP out there. You just get people's permission, like adults who had CP made of them would just like opt in order to prevent other kids from being harmed. And and the debate, here's the thing. The debate, if it was any other topic, would have looked great for him because it was just him reiterating these points and using this one, fucking fact-based thing, or one study. And three conservatives just yelling at him, like just yelling and swearing and getting more and more frustrated. But that's it's such a good encapsulation of, I think, the problem with debate spaces is that debate spaces lose track of, especially when you have somebody who is so like, I believe in facts, I believe in statistics, I believe in figures, is because you are taking it on faith that facts, statistics, and figures are the only guide people have to their worldview. And this late in the game, I feel like most people should know that's not the fucking case, and so it's just like, okay, but like, dude, you're still, I know you just see it as an argument, but it's very frustrating. It's very fucking frustrating. Yeah. Anyway, That is enough about Destiny. The other big project that will hopefully be out. I worked all day on the Trump video. Please go watch it on the channel. It's gonna fucking flop, and I need more views. Exactly. You could frame it. Savvy Writes Books reminds me of people who argue in favor of a free market for human organs. You could frame it rationally, but you have to ignore the entire concept of coercion. Yeah, you have to, like, if you argue these points, the problem is that you often have to argue them in a vacuum. You are arguing a equation, right? You are not arguing a moral argument or a argument that has grounding in reality, because reality, everything in society affects every other thing in little incalculable ways. But when you're arguing from such a fact-based standpoint, when you are like stringently just this plus this equals this, then you would argue things that we see don't happen. Like trickle-down economics is a great example. You're like, okay, well, if all these people make all this money, then eventually, like, the people under them will also start to make more money, and then the people under them will start to make more. Like, but then you can look around and be like, oh shit, that didn't. Oh damn, that didn't work. You know, and that is any number of things that you can just look at and be like, well, this plus this doesn't equal this. You know, you can fucking look at another great one is population density and declining and collapsing civilizations. And when white nationalists talk about birth rates and by 2172, well, white people will be extinct. And it's like, no, because when you actually go and look, like what you are doing is you are holding up, here's this bar graph going up, right? Over a period of time. And you are saying, okay, well, it's always going to go up over that same period of time if you keep drawing out that period. The problem is that that's unsustainable for literally any population. And also, every population in every society everywhere has gone through fluctuations and mass migration and all this other shit. So it becomes this more nuanced conversation because there are more forces working upon it. Nothing is as simple as this plus this is going to equal this. And so it's very frustrating to watch him, and I think he argues less like that now. But there will be times where he does. And it's very annoying. It's very annoying because then he will turn around and somebody will that's the kind of two-facedness of it, is that he will then turn around and somebody will offer him that style of this plus this equals this, very simple argumentation. And he will be like, well, no, then now that's you're not being nuanced enough, and there's actually a lot more things happening here. It's just like, okay, yeah. Anyway. Okay, so the other one. What? Family lawnmower? What are you saying? Huh? God, my fucking throat hurts too, so I do not know how long I'm going to stream tonight. Over on Twitch, really quick, reminder that every subscription, every 10 subs, get me an extra 250 biddies right now. So if you're not subbed yet, please go sub. I actually plan on adding more emotes, channel emotes soon. And I will be doing, hopefully, probably not this month, maybe next month. I think I might do a end of year subathon of some kind. But the other video I'm working on, and I hope a lot of people, I hope a lot of people are looking forward to this one, is on the Pissed Off Lawyer, which, for those who don't know, has been an ongoing saga in the last year or so for a former lawyer in the queer scene who, she is still a lawyer, who was trans masked for couple decades, went through hormone replacement and everything. And then what is looking more and more like happened is that she was influenced and surrounded by a bunch of TERFs and gender criticals who slowly just chipped away at her self-confidence, turned the trans community against her, and in kind, she has continued crashing out for several months. Sabliano, I was moots with Hendrix on Twitter. Many people were. Yeah, and so I had I've interviewed Pissed Off Lawyer twice now. Those interviews will be featured in the video coming on. Hopefully, I'm going to work my ass off on it tomorrow. Hopefully, it'll be out by Wednesday. That's what I'm aiming for. I just feel sick, you know? I feel that just wearying. I'm tired. I'm very tired. I'm very sick. I haven't been able to, I haven't been sleeping well. I haven't been able to like really recuperate and rest at all because the videos haven't been doing well lately, which means I don't really have a recourse but to keep streaming, keep making more videos. So on that note, if you could go like, support, comment, share your favorite video on social media. I know I would definitely appreciate it. My views would appreciate it. You never know who's going to see it, who's going to share it. This is what I do for a living. With that being said, let us now jump into today's top headlines. Now, I want to have a little cathartic moment before we get too into the weeds on the Democrat shutdown issue. Because I feel like that'll be most of what... God, my throat is already like closing up. I feel like that is what most of the discourse is right now in left-leaning spaces. But it's important to remember, and Robin Xavieri, thank you very much for following and subscribing at Tier 1. Thank you, I appreciate it. It's important to remember that the people we're arguing against are also, when confronted, usually deeply stupid and unknowledgeable about whatever they're arguing for. Matt Walsh, Christo-fascist, nationalist, general racist and piece of shit, got a shellacking. And I talked about it in the video I did on Matt a year or two back. He doesn't do public debates and appearances. And it's for reasons like this. Tenacious Ross, I didn't say YouTube shadow banning me. No, Awesome Stella. I'm just going right into it. Is he a Fuentes orbiter? Really? Damn. That sucks.
Invasion and occupation of the United States that constantly decapitates governments and takes the money out of the country and saddles us with
we don't want the Clintons
debt
either.
from a revolution. Yeah.
Right. Although I don't. So you're saying that
we wouldn't want to be like basically a colony that the entire West spends 200 years punishing after the Haitian Revolution.
I get that. I understand that, but also at a certain
we
point,
wouldn't want that. No. Yes.
we wouldn't want that. But I would also say that that's not entirely why Haiti's in the position that it's in. I mean, it is.
Yeah, really quick. Bruce Magazine, a lot of YouTubers' views are getting. There is something going on on YouTube on the back end. It's why I don't think it's a like fucking like, oh, I'm being shadow banned, because it's not just me. A ton of people are talking about how their views have massively fluctuating. There was the whole restricted video thing that suddenly a lot of people noticed that their videos would be, even though like set to restricted for no real reason, even though it doesn't show that way on like ad revenue side of things, which is very fucking frustrating. Yeah, here's Savvy Red's books. All of us are feeling it. My view on the last few videos are less than half of usual, even for highly anticipated topic. Exactly. Like stuff that I'm like, okay, let me give you, granted, not going to be as contentious as the election video. I get that. But like stuff that I'm like, okay, this is going to do a little bit, like, or like this is going to do, and for me, fine, all right, chill, is like 25 to 30K. I don't think any of my last 5 or 6 videos have done that. And the ones that did just kind of barely peaked over that. It's so fucking frustrating. For people who use ad blockers don't count. That fucking sucks. That fucking sucks. Zachary Butler, thank you so much for $20. Catching up in your videos, where Tucker Carlson was interviewing a guy that psychedelics lead to demon possession. Hyperspace elves was a Terrence McKenna quote. McKenna would fucking hate those trogs. I don't doubt it. Yeah. Oh, and here's the thing. It's not just, and here's how I know like there's some fuckery going on with the algorithm, is that YouTube top to bottom is becoming so fucking enshittified right now, where it's not just like, okay, I'm getting less views, boo-hoo me. It's also like the home screens and the selection of videos are getting worse, and part of that is because I'm not seeing videos from like my friends and stuff. But then the other side of things is that even when I watch videos, the amount of ads being put into fucking videos is so... I've been having, in the background while I've been editing and working on the Hendrix pissed off lawyer thing, I've had some Game Informer Super Replay videos going, because I love the old Game Informer crew and their videos. And I cannot get like 2 or 3 minutes into a video without one ad break. And then I swear to God, for like half hour, 45-minute videos, I cannot go 5 to 6 minutes without another ad break. And every one of the ads, I haven't gotten many of like the ICE or any of the fascist ads. I keep fucking getting these shitty AI read ads. And some of the ads are even AI generated. And I'm just like, I can't, what other platforms can I use? Because I'm not big enough for, like people will say like, oh, you know, like I am growing streaming on Twitch. I am hopefully going to hit 10K before the end of the year. That'll be great. But like, I do not stream regularly enough to be like, okay, this is my income. I am a Twitch streamer. On the other hand, like, what am I going to fucking put videos on? Rumble? Like, it's so, yeah, it's so fucking frustrating. Produce Magazine, thank you for another 20. Have some money, more so because I'm pissed than anything. I fucking feel it. Thank you very much.
At a certain point, as a country, you have to stand on your own 2 feet and take care of yourself. And
but at what point is that? They elect Aristide and we overthrow Aristide. Then they elect Jovenel Moïse. Jovenel Moïse is assassinated a bunch of people with American connections, and then we install in 2021. Like, the United States installed the prime minister that we just ousted. Like, so we could say, okay, yeah, you got to get over the, 200 years ago, but like, we're still doing it.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not in favor of. I'm very non-interventionist in my policies, so I'm not in favor of most of the things that we're doing in other countries.
We just made the new government in Haiti in a hotel room in Jamaica. And then we insisted that whatever government we made in Jamaica had to allow Kenyan troops to come in under the flag of the UN in order to go to war with the gangs.
Yeah, I'm not. Look, I'm not interested in. Right. If it were up to me, I'm not interested in doing anything in Haiti. Like let Haiti be Haiti and take.
Oh,
that's
now
sort
you're
of
not. Okay,
my
yeah.
whole point here. Let them take care of themselves and their own problems. I'm also not saying that there's like never a scenario where we would let someone from Haiti into the country.
Jesus fucking Christ! What a fucking little bitch. Andrew Gray, thank you very much for $5. Just want to chip in. Hope this helps you. It absolutely does. Absolutely does. There was let's because we also got to talk about Ghislaine shit and the possible maybe Nancy Mace hoax. Well, okay, so here's the thing. I can't Queer Cranium Nebula is not something you just get to go on. You have to be invited. And last time I checked, Nebula was not accepting new invites and stuff. I would love to do Nebula. I would kill to be working on my next motherfucking like deep dive philosophical video essay, the one I've been working on AI and what it means to be like art and human and all that shit. And that's like probably not I'm probably not touching that until fucking January at the rate I'm going. And if I was on Nebula, okay, two eventualities. If I was either on Nebula or I made like $15K a month, I made enough to pay down debt, pay bills, and pay rent every month, I could do that, but I can't. This is why I gotta like spend entire days doing stream highlight videos and shit. It is what it is. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm just bitching. This is turning into the poor me power hour, so I just don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not big enough to be on Nebula.
All over this country. And what the election showed is that
all right, so
tonight 8 Democrats voted with the Republicans to allow them to go forward on this continuing resolution. And to my mind, this was a very, very bad vote. What it does, first of all, is it raises healthcare premiums for over 20 million Americans by doubling, and in some cases tripling or quadrupling. People can't afford that when we are already paying the highest prices in the world for healthcare. Number two, it paves the way for 15 million people to be thrown off of Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. Studies show that will mean that some 50,000 Americans will die every year unnecessarily.
Thank you, Storm.
And all of that was done to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1%. As everybody knows, just on Tuesday, we had an election all over this country. And what the election showed is that the American people want us to stand up to Trumpism, to his war against working class people, to his authoritarianism. That is what the American people wanted, but tonight, that is not what happened. So we've got to go forward, do the best that we can to try to protect working class people, to make sure that the United States not only does not throw people off of health care, but ends the absurdity of being the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee health care to all people. We got a lot of work to do. But to be honest with you, tonight was not a good night. Thank you.
Fucking Bernie, I am so... Look, Bernie has been inconsistent on a lot of shit, and I think there's a lot to be said about how Bernie understands... Bernie, much like AOC, understands that like you have to give as much as you get. In politics, like you cannot just stand and be a block in the road. You have to work with some people. But the way that he has managed to still use things like social media and understands that, whereas a lot of other people, and we'll see some of the other, because I have a collection of Democrats who voted talking about, oh, why we voted and why this is important and we're still fighting for Americans and all this shit. Yenzo 628, did those 8 Dems just cave to Republicans because that was their only strategy to get those pricks to reopen the government? Also, is that Dems still going to be sworn in? They were going to reveal the Epstein files. Didn't the shutdown happen just because some Republicans didn't want to swear them in? That was something that was like, no, they've been putting off swearing in that one Democrat for, I believe, since before the shutdown. I'm pretty sure. Somebody very interestingly brought up these, though, talking about the American Airlines Political Action Committee. One of the things that has been massively impacted by the government shutdown has been American Airlines. Not just the company, just the entire airline industry. I see really quick. More than 22,000 flights across the U.S. canceled as shut down grounds travelers. U.S. Airlines daily cancellations exceed 2,700 as shutdown impact extends. Cancellations accelerate as air traffic controller shortage surges. Lauren, her special election was within a week of the shutdown? Okay. That sounds like, yeah, I think in the midst of everything else, I just missed that news. That was one that a lot of people weren't paying attention to. FAA has mandated flight cuts at 40 major airports, 2,800 cancellations, and 10,200 delays on Sunday, the worst since the start. Airlines for America reports 4 million passengers affected. Now, these people, Senate Democrats who voted to put forward the amendment, or put forward the resolution to reopen the government. This person is noting that they all received payment from the PAC, the American Airlines PAC. Much to think about. Lot of economic growth you can stimulate when you're donating to people's election committees.
The ACA premium tax.
Says when people talk about getting money out of politics, that this is the kind of shit that they're talking about. Senator Angus King standing up to Donald Trump didn't work. I believe he was one of the people just listed who got money from the PAC. Thank you very much, El Salve, for $5. Support for your documentaries. Keep on going. Thank you. And Zachary Butler, thank you very much for $5. Matt Walsh has the moral backbone of a bucket of dead nematodes. And Andrew Gray, thank you very much for $5, saying I just want to chip in. Hope this helps. Literally, everything helps. And El Salve, if you like my documentaries, the ones I'm working on now are gonna fucking blow your hair back. Yeah, so let's hear August King. Standing up to Donald Trump just didn't work.
Well, Joe, you have to go back to what the strategy was at the beginning of the shutdown. There were 2 goals, both of which I support. One was standing up to Donald Trump. The other was getting some resolution on the ACA premium tax credit issue. The problem was the shutdown wasn't accomplishing either goals, and there was there was zero likelihood that it was going to. In terms of standing up to Donald Trump, the shutdown actually gave him more power. Exhibit A being what he's done with SNAP and SNAP benefits across the country. Oh, by the way, Joe, you're going to love this. Guess who's getting paid during the shutdown? Not the park rangers or air traffic controllers, the ICE agents. Under special law, under that big awful bill that they passed last summer, the ICE agents are being paid. Nobody else is. So standing up to
Okay, so if I'm listening to this guy correctly, standing up to Donald Trump didn't work because the evil shit they were doing, they were still going to do under not other people getting paid. Thank you. Alpha Beta, thank you very much for $9.99. Love your videos. Keep on keeping on. Big awful bill. Yeah, I saw that awesome sell. Massachusetts could start getting fucked soon. One of our centrist Dem Congress is shooting for taking Markey's seat. This would be a very bad thing for Massachusetts. And I feel like it would be a very bad thing for everything. Comrade Girl, there has to be political punishment. Oh ho! But you see, what are we gonna do? Vote for not Democrats? I think not. So in essence, what they've done is not only are they moving forward with cutting healthcare, like Bernie mentioned, but all of this suffering, all of this fighting, all of this bickering and back and forth, nobody got anything out of it except for Trump. Senator Jian Shaheen, I voted tonight to reopen the government and take action to protect healthcare from tens of millions of Americans. Here's why. This agreement gives Democrats control of the Senate floor at a time when Republicans control every level of power. On one of our top legislative priorities, extending the enhanced premium tax credits to make healthcare more affordable for millions of Americans. Let's be clear, this is a major step that was not predetermined. I spent years as the lead sponsor of this legislation. There's no one in the Senate who wants to see these tax credits extended more than me, but weeks of negotiations with Republicans have made clear they will not address healthcare as part of the shutdown talks, and that waiting longer will only prolong the pain Americans are feeling because of the shutdown. They won't. You're literally playing right into what they wanted. This agreement also, they didn't give us anything, so we just decided to take nothing. Oh, I got a hype train? Wahoo! Yay! Thank you, Shulk90. And Ave Anomaly, thank you for 1 bits. I guess we're on a level 1 hype train for the next 4 minutes. Let's see if we can get it up a little bit more. Sorry, I'm actually like so frustrated reading this. You're good, Ave Anomaly. I appreciate it. This agreement also reinstates thousands of fired federal workers and guarantees back pay to more than 1 million others. That was never given either. And critically, this deal restores a bipartisan appropriations process, which includes funds for SNAP, WIC, and healthcare for veterans. With the government reopened, it's time to move quickly to ensure we keep healthcare premiums from skyrocketing. Donald Trump, Leader Thune, and Speaker Johnson have all said they are willing to find a way extending these tax credits. We are ready to negotiate immediately. We'll fucking see. We'll fucking see. I have no faith in them. I have no faith in these people. Why would I? Who would we have? Stone Core Bell, thank you very much for subbing, for gifting a sub to Minigun Me, Barker Jr. Rar, Barker J. Rar. Thank you for tier 1 for 2 months. I appreciate it. And Stone Corbell. God, my throat is already starting to scratch. I can't be raising my voice like that. I'm proud to be an American. Where at least I know I'm free. We are almost to level 2 at the hype train. If we could get 1 more dono, I think that would put us there. If somebody else wants to subscribe over on Twitch, I would appreciate it. Zachary Butler, thank you for $2. I believe in Paul fucking Bunyan more than them. American legend, American hero, absolutely. Yeah, I saw Hassan's in China. I don't like follow Hassan. I saw people talking about it in the Discord, in the Dead Domain Discord. I saw people talking about Hassan being in China. Oh, that was you. My internet has also been going out and off all day. I hope that's not what's happening now. There we go. There we go. First Circuit denies Trump administration request to stay judge's orders forcing full payment of snaps. OtterCon, thank you very much for following. Outlaw Witch, how do you join the Discord? You have to go through Patreon, I believe, at the $2 tier? $3 tier? $2 tier? Yes. I have a massive goddamn headache now, too. Life is so much fun. Thank you very much also, Johnny Vile. We are on Hype Train Level 2. Stone Corbell. The GOAT over here. Kate's not funny. Gifting a sub to them. Thank you very much. All right, let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Bunch of people, bunch of stuff. Use 42 million people, 1 out of every 8 Americans use SNAP to buy food for themselves and their families. Sued to require USDA to provide full temporary restraining order requiring the government to either full SNAP payments by November 3rd or partial payments by November 5th. The government elected to provide partial. On Thursday, the district court determined that the government had failed to comply with the order because it did not provide partial payments in a timely manner. It thus ordered the full payment of SNAP funds for November. The government now asks us to stay that order in its entirety pending its appeal. We deny that request. Fucking this dude. Oh my God. What a bunch of fucking shitheads. So, what they're saying and talking about staying orders and stuff, so breaking it down in layman's, the court ordered the administration, says, okay, during the shutdown, you have to give at least partial SNAP benefits. You have to give people fucking crumbs, if nothing else. Trump was like, okay, and then just proceeded to not do it. And then so the court goes, okay, bitch, you have to give full benefits. And Trump goes, well, no. And then they said, well, actually, yes. And that's where we're at now. They are denying the request to stay the order. They were like, okay, well, can we put a pin in this for a little bit? Can we put starving people and 1 in 8 Americans needing SNAP benefits to feed their families and feed their children? You know what? Hey, can we circle back around to it? Can we just come back to that in a minute? And the court was like, nah. Bitch, the fuck? You fucking thought? You grade 13. Thank you for subscribing with Prime. For low-income Americans, SNAP is a vital bulwark against hunger and food insecurity. Access to food is a basic need. Furthermore, food security is a critical factor in health and well-being. Blah, 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 blah. Congress appropriates federal funding for SNAP on an annual basis. Honestly, we are at a point. Is my internet going out? I just got a reload notification. I can't fucking believe this. We have 51% of the way through Hype Train Level 2. We got less than 2 minutes to go. Who else can keep this hype train going? Goddamn. We've reached a point where, and look, the federal deficit talking point, there was a novelty to it, like 10 years ago. when we're able to just fucking throw shit like $40 billion, sorry, they're still working on the other $20 billion to motherfucking Argentina, while kids are running out of food, I have such less interest in any conversations about, like, well, the Senate appropriations, and the federal government appropriates these funds, and we can only give out this. And it's like, dog, you're telling me we can give Israel Hellfire missiles during a ceasefire and they can just wipe people off the face of the fucking planet, that they're trying out new thermobaric bombs, which, if you haven't seen, are basically mini nukes. MAGA infighting. Oh no, I haven't talked about MAGA infighting. I guess there. I don't know about MAGA infighting. What MAGA infighting is there? Other than the usual shit like Matt Walsh stuff. Yeah, like the idea of people fucking giving a shit about any of that is so fucking frustrating to me. So, Heritage Project guys are freaking out about Tucker Carlson giving softball questions to Nick Fuentes in a new interview. Otterchrome, hell yeah. Thank you for gifting tier 1 subbies to Halibut Barn, Eldritch Aries, Okay, I'm only going to read this once, so enjoy it. But username Hassan's Poop Sock on Twitch. Find Jesus. I'm not even a Christian. Find somebody. Apologize. Insomniac Toaster as well. Thank you very much. And Nehemia, thank you very much for $5. These commie liberals want people to have full bellies and warm clothes for the winter. Shakes fist. Oh, no, Awesome Cell, I know how fuel air bombs work. Like, I know they are fucking horrendous and devastating. Silly Demon Dog, thank you very much for $4.99. I do okay what to say. Here's $5. I'll take it. I'll take your $5. Oh. I need some well, if I'm remembering correctly, fuel air bombs are also the kind that they suck the air out of a... Like, so if you are trapped in the, like, immediate blast radius, before the explosion will get to you, the suffocation will. Like, it is a fucking horrible way to die. Yeah, goddamn Taco Face Fart. Thank you for $2. I just have what a rogues gallery in my fucking menchies in my my comment section right now. So I want to talk about kind of fishtailing off of the idea of what the Dems have done, what they could do. Capitulating to Trump, playing right into his hand. Go on, girl, give us nothing. All that stuff. Your lungs collapse. That's what it is. Yeah. I knew it was something like that. I didn't remember the details. I went through a brief period in high school of being obsessed with like war and warfare and shit. As one does. It is on the eve of Mom Donnie's historic win. We have Raiders. Wow. Thank you very much, Merrick. Thank you very much for rating with a party of 37. Dirk Ampferks and J-Rod BO7, thank you very much for following. We're just talking about how the libs fucking suck. Foxhole creations on fuel air. The vacuum is what kills you if you are in a cave or other confined space. The pressure wave is the first damage, then heat, then the vacuum. Okay. Okay, gotcha. So if you are in a sheltered space, in a space that would otherwise be protected from the bomb still fucking gets you. What a nightmare we are, man. What a just heinous nightmare. Hank Hill's butt. Thank you very much for following. Yes, welcome Raiders. Glad to have you here. So I watched Begonia last night. I really like, I don't know why I'm wearing headphones. I'm not listening to shit anymore. I really like Yorgos Lanthimos. Seeing Stav in that movie was fucking weird. Being like, wait, no, I don't know Stav personally, but being like, oh, I know that guy. And that movie, I think a lot of people expected it to be something else. I think a lot of people expected it to be like Civil War or Eddington, where it's just this like kind of artsy filmmaker giving their enlightened liberal take on, oh, look at how divided and look at how misinformed and how fucking, messed up everything is. But it really was it was far more thoughtful and existential than I thought it would be, and I thought it was quite good. Spagonia, oh. Johnny Viral, I got bad news about Potted Talk. Potted Talk isn't like dead, but I think Bugs and I are both at points. I am certainly at a point where I straight up do not have like the time and bandwidth for it. But I think both of us are just like really busy and also really fucking bummed with Magic right now. And that's made it like I pitched to Bugs even a couple weeks ago. And for those who don't know, Potted Talk was a Magic podcast I do with my friend Bugs Matrix. And I pitched to Bugs like 2 weeks ago, like, hey, what if we kind of did this? We altered it. We changed this. And it's like, and we were both like, I was kind of excited about it at the time. And then over time, I've just been like, okay, but in my defense, I don't think it's not totally dead. Like, I think we'll probably do another one at some point. But we are both so fucking bummed about the direction of Magic right now. And I'm also not playing as much as I was before. Part of that comes down to just being fucking tired and not having the time or the bandwidth when I'm working on all these big fucking videos. Yeah, it's just been, I haven't been able to do my like hobbies that aren't really hobbies. I can't do my hobbies that are genuinely hobbies, like my, yeah, unfortunately, Johnny Viral, until further notice, keep your eye out. When there's a new episode, put it back in the rotation, I think. Yeah, no, Ave Anomaly, if you haven't watched my video on Dungeons and Dragons being gay and like the quote-unquote controversy around that, I would go watch that. I kind of explain it all there. Nehemiah, thank you very much for $10. Holy mackerel. I was going to make a joke about next week, about how next week or so Israel was going to create something even worse, but everything I've tried coming up with, they've already used. Yeah, it wasn't Al Jazeera. There was an article I was looking up for the video earlier, and just the most passive fucking voice was so like, two more Palestinians die after as ceasefire tensions mount, and it's like, who killed them? Who just what? Like, and that's just the regularly accepted type of jargon that Western media uses to describe a ceasefire and peace-loving Israel. And it's so It's very frustrating. Zachary Butler, thank you very much for $5. Could be worse. Could be depressed, burnt out, and trying to make a podcast about pro wrestling. Damn. I feel like, though, I think we just switch Magic the Gathering and pro wrestling, and we're right there. We're right there. Piccolo the Goat 1989. I got into Magic a year ago. Need to play again. I got like 3 decks. I've also taken apart a bunch of decks. Like, I have my baby decks is the thing. And I like my baby decks. And the problem is that sometimes the people I play with make me not want to play again, because even though they'll be playing at a 2, they are playing a 2, but they are constantly removing shit, and I'm like, dog. Like, I was playing, I literally scooped. I don't scoop a lot, but I was like so fucking pissed because I played one of my baby decks is Ashnon. I have 2 Ashnon decks. One of them is the Mono Black Ashnon. This will be a very small type thing. We'll be moving back to the New York Times article in a bit. And the whole point of the deck does not have any infinites. It takes a while to get going. It's just making Power Stones, which are a resource, and somebody fucking to remove somebody else's commander, not mine, not anybody else. I got a really good start, and they said, okay, now I'm going to exile all artifacts and creatures. And I'm just on like turn 5, and I'm like, I'm playing an artifact deck, motherfucker. And so I had to spend like all the game getting a board back, and I barely had a board at the end. And at some point, this other person who was doing bullshit next to me and was playing stacks and was doing like, you can't cast more than 1 spell, you can't untap more than this, and I'm like, life would be a fucking dream with some Power Stones. But I finally get like, okay, I just have an 8/8. That's it. I got an 8/8. It's not that bad. It was something like Farewell. It was some fucking bullshit. And then the person next to me, and I keep getting swatted because I don't have any defense. So I'm the only one taking damage for most of the game. I'm like at 4 or 5 life after somebody punches me in the face, and then they play a card on their second turn that's like, okay, I'm going to get control of all of your artifacts. And I literally said, I looked at my thing that I had sat there for like 40 minutes trying to rebuild from ashes, and I was just like, I think my words, I believe, were, okay, I scoop. Fuck that. Are you out of your goddamn mind? Something like that. My partner was there with me and can verify that. Because I was just like, fucking no? Anyway. Going back to feckless liberalism. Our favorite topic. It's so just, it's almost perfect. It's almost beautiful. The way something like this will come out right after Mamdani's historic win, where he got over half of the vote. The liberal establishment, and I hate sounding like fucking Alex Jones when I say this shit, because it makes me sound like a conspiracy theory. The liberal establishment, they don't want you to know that New York City actually wants Sharia law. Like, it's very fucking annoying. But the liberal establishment, the same people who just fell in line with Trump, yeah, the same people who just fucking fumbled an easy win. I was hoping you'd do an Alex Jones voice. I don't know how much more I can do. My throat is fucking pain. Yeah, exactly. Rosa Friend, stop playing in my LGS because power players just want to dominate. It's like, I don't know. It feels like when you go, okay, the thing with Magic is it has a bracket system where part of the bracket system is saying what kind of deck you're playing and the general attitude and vibe of it. And so it's kind of like saying, are you playing at like a pro baseball level? or are you just fucking around in the backyard with their friends? And so you sign up for a 2 and you're like, you know what? I'm just here to have a good time. I made a deck and I just tell a little story with it. Or I just got like a little guy and I give everybody bananas, or, you know, like fucking ridiculous, like goofy shit. Because the tools for all of that kind of player-driven storytelling is what makes Commander interesting to me. It's not the fact that you can just pick out a bunch of cards, turn them sideways and win. Because anybody can fucking do that. It's fucking boring. Especially with power creep. Like, there's so many modern cards and sets that are literally cards that are just powerful with no downsides. And so what you get is you will go into a 2 being like, I'm just playing my little theme deck that I made because I really like this character and I think this is real fun, and look at all this, and I collected all the cards that look like this. And somebody else is playing fucking, you know, Gorgoth the Destroyer, and it's just, I turn it sideways, you lose 20 life, I gain 1,000 soldier tokens, and, you know, kill your entire family line. It's like, okay, well, I thought we were playing a 2, and they'll be like, yeah, because it's not on the game changer list. It technically is a 2. And it's like, fucking, dude, you know what I mean? Ugh. Anyway. Yeah, the future, all right. Again, I put in the context of what we went through last night. Put in the context of what we are still going through. Mamdani isn't the future of the Democrats. This guy is. And this is all about, if you haven't watched, there's a great video, friend of the channel, personal friend of mine, Jesse Gender, just put out a really good video about the center not holding. And they want to start arguing that, oh no, the center is fine. It does not elude me, and it shouldn't elude you either, that the people arguing for the status quo are ones who have benefited from it, while other people have continued to not benefit from it. The people most fervently arguing that, oh no, the system is working perfectly fine, are the one that the system is working fine for. It's the type of thing that when you get people who are kind of these more, quote-unquote, liberal centrists, people who might be socially progressive, they might say things like, oh yeah, I don't mind if 2 guys want to marry, or, you know, if somebody's trans, like, hate has no place here, like all that shit. But then when it comes to taxing the rich, they suddenly become like, it's where you get the idea of like a fiscal conservative, right? I'm socially liberal, I'm fiscally conservative. Fighting Hobbit, thank you very much for 25 bits. Hey, look through it is. Hope your hatchet is unburied and firmly in hand. Nehemiah, thank you very much for $5. Young, overwhelmingly popular socialist heartthrob Mamdani is not the future of the Democratic Party. This mediocre white guy you've never heard of is, yeah. It's like, dog, anybody should be so lucky to have Mamdani as the future of the party. Dude, the guy is not only charismatic as fuck, he's a fucking smoke show. His wife is ridiculously hot. Come on. Oh, it's so fucking frustrating. But it all comes back to the fact that when people are arguing in favor of the status quo and they're saying like, well, look at what capitalism has given us. It's because capitalism and systems like it have given them a lot. But they are not taking into account the people who have not been served, the people who have been trampled over, the people who aren't able to afford their health care, the people who are working fucking 50, 60, 70-hour work weeks, can't afford rent, can't afford to have a kid in a house. Pup Luna, just got done watching your newest video. I had to break it off with my friend of 13 years. I'm very sorry about that. After he was apathetic towards me, worrying every day about my boyfriend being abducted by ICE. Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, like everybody in the chat. No, yeah, Savvy Writes books. See, exactly. I've been trying so hard not to talk about women's appearance on Maine, but oh my gosh, Mamdani's wife is so hot. Yeah, like I feel like it's one of those things where there's a line of objectification, right? Like, you know, I feel like when you start getting weirdly specific about it, that's the objectifying line. You know, I think you see that with the way, like, the way people talked about, like, Sydney Sweeney before she fucking fell the fuck off. where they would just talk about her tits, where it's like not how she carried herself or face anything else. It's just like, oh, she got big boobs, and it's like, okay, that's objectifying, right? Like that is you are not valuing her as a person, or just saying like she's very attractive. Whereas I think with somebody like Rama, like there is this like, I don't know, there's just a grace. There's a beauty. There's like this real. She's very demure, you know. I don't know. She's just hot. And I feel like just saying that does not objectify her, you know. It's the aura. Yeah, like she has hot aura. She does. It's just like, you know, I think you could say that a lot of people who are like, oh my gosh, look at this person, they're so fucking gorgeous. I see that with like, and I have that where like I see that when people talk about Hunter Schafer, for example. Hunter Schafer, gorgeous woman, and you don't get a lot of like the same kind of trans fetishizing about her specifically that you do with a lot of like other trans creators, other trans people. I think it's, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's almost this unquantifiable thing. Savvy writes books. Yeah, that's a good point. It's not about specifics. It's like she's so gorgeous and so talented as an artist. Yeah, like she does. Somebody I think pointed out she has this like timeless quality that is, you know, that is a woman who, you know, 50 years ago as a Hollywood starlet would have been just as attractive. Like you can see her showing up in a movie next to Judy Garland or something and be like, yeah, like that. It's just a universally pretty person. I don't know how else to really quantify it. Damn. Oh, John Bainbridge, you're cooking. Fun fact, Sydney Sweeney's initials are SS. You know what? Fucking makes you think. Damn. Fucking think about it. Think about it, sheeple. Oh, yeah, I saw it. Awesome, Stella. Let me go back up to it. There we go. I think also there's a level of I don't know. I don't want to, again, because I think that gets into objectifying a little bit. When you have this weird competition that like look at that. This is fucking Singing in the Rain right here. This is adorable. They're so fucking cute together too. That's the other thing I love about them is that like it's so rare to see politicians of any stripe who feel like in their interactions with their spouse or their loved one feels genuine. It doesn't feel just outright performative. It was one of the things I actually appreciated about like that video Liz Warren did with her husband a couple times where they would just be like, that's somebody's grandma and grandpa, you know, like say whatever you want about them as people. That's somebody's grandma and grandpa. Same with fucking Tim Walz. Like when I see him interact with like his spouse and family, I'm like, that's just somebody's grandpa. And that's the thing that I think gives it that realness that you really genuinely don't get with a lot of conservatives and a lot of their families. And there is this kind of, I don't know, there's this weird need I think a lot of people have to react to the over-sexualization of conservative women. There was this fascinating thing I read. Let me see if I can find it really quick. On Mar-a-Lago face, which is a oh, it has a fucking Wikipedia. That's fucking crazy. DC plastic surgeon sees surge in Mar-a-Lago face requests from Trump insiders. Maximalist ethos when it comes to their visage. Fillers are big with this crew, especially lips and as are Botox and Dysports. DC plastic surgeon Anita Kulkarni has had to turn down an influx of newly arrived political insiders asking for a more done look, like that Mar-a-Lago face. End quote. Extra fillers and injections on top of already treated faces, which can be dangerous. And y'all, I don't even need to like pull up pictures because you know what I'm talking about. Like it is the Laura Loomer, it is the Kristi Noem. Yeah, I did see Nathan. I think we talked about that last time. That's fucking Catherine Guilfoyle, Kimberly. Yep, there's Laura Loomer. There's Kimberly Guilfoyle. Who the fuck is Lauren Sanchez? It's just there's I don't know. Again, I don't want to get too much into critiquing people's thing, but I think there is going to be this when it comes to Mom Dottie's wife, her being a beautiful woman, I would caution anybody against trying to then use her as an example of like, oh, look at when Democrats, when conservatives and shit are like, oh, look at all the ugly women on the left. Don't just be like, yeah, but Mom Dottie's wife is hot, because that is actually objectifying. And they literally do that to women. Like that's kind of the sad part about it, is that Kristi Noem in 2010, get the fuck out. What? Dog. Okay, we gotta look up a comparison. These people existed back then. They didn't just like spawn in. Yeah, no, they've been like, that's Kristi Noem in 2010. That's her now. It is a very genuine phenomenon. But no, she was like naturally pretty. And not that she's like, again, I don't want to be like, oh, she's ugly now, but there is this objectification of women and people in general. You know, Matt Gaetz has had his own thing that is just so, I don't know. It is this literal kind of turning people into products that is so, it's dark. It's dark. There's something there. There's something there to deconstruct. I mean, hey, maybe I'll do a video on it. Yeah, you know what? Hey, give me a second. I'll do something on Mar-a-Lago face. This, by the way, is how I come up with videos. If you've ever wondered, wow, how does Vesper come up with all those things? It is, I will look into something for 10 seconds and be like, I wonder if there's more here. And so I'm going to try and dig in and see if Mar-a-Lago face is a thing. Vat of pure ethanol or something. Yeah, it's a plastic pretty. It is. And it's just, it's a bummer to me because I hate sounding so, because there is this kind of like as a trans person, as a queer person, I understand, hey, you want to change some shit. I know people who have had cosmetic surgeries, not just on their face, on their body, in other ways that have like greatly benefited from changing things, who have like had an entire outlook on life change, even like little things like nose jobs. But there is a level of, I think when you reach a certain like in group, that it isn't for your personal perception. It is not because I'm going to do this because I think it's what I want, or I am going to be happier looking in the mirror, or it is going to make me feel better about myself, which is what like those kind of operations should be for. It is because everybody else is getting it. And that to me is so, it's sad. It really is. And it just occurred to me, this is just because I was in for the pissed off lawyer piece, I was in a fucking Twitter Spaces last night for 3 hours with a bunch of TERFs and D-trans whack jobs, and I don't say that lightly, who, they're talking about how, kids, they just, all these trans activists, they want kids to cut off their whatever. And I'm like, this circle is literally like somewhere you gain more favor, you curry more favor, you get more social capital for doing that. Like this is literally the type of shit that people will fearmonger and conspiracy theorize about trans people doing. Like, they're just all doing it because it's a social contagion. It's like, dog, the social contagion is right here. Savvy writes books. Yeah, I have had a hard time. I've had plastic surgery in the sense I've had breast reduction, and people say, well, that's different because it was for your scoliosis. But even if I didn't have scoliosis, I still have gotten it just for my own body image. So I think autonomy is so important, but also we have to question with Trump's history how much of this was truly voluntary. That's ugh. Yeah, that's fucking dark too. Oh, that's so gross. To like think about him ordering people. Yeah, I don't even want to think about that. No, I knew a girl in high school who, and I felt bad for her even at the time because she was so, by high schoolers, so kind of different. But she was so fucking fetishized, because she had, I don't know if she had like some kind of growth, like a hormone imbalance or something, but just a lot of growth in the breast tissue, and had to like, before she was 18, had to have like multiple reduction surgeries, which is not a normal thing. But it like generally it is my understanding, because and this is just what I know of like trans side of medicine, my understanding is that a lot of doctors don't want to do that kind of invasive surgery before somebody's finished growing because of the way it can affect muscle tissue and fat buildup and that kind of stuff as it's all still kind of forming and cementing. But the risk would have to be greater to like back pain and like spinal issues to not do it. And like, yeah, like that shit, look, there are cosmetic surgeries that do need to happen. At that point, I feel like that's more of a medical issue, though, than a cosmetic thing. Nehemia, thank you very much for $10. Transphobes be like, in 300 years, archaeologists will know what gender you are. Like, yeah, and in 1,000 years, the only thing left of you will be plastic in your face. Oh, that's... See, you say that, and then my dark ass, my morbid mind was just like, I wonder what skeletons will look like. I'm sure there've got to be like fully decomposed bodies from, because they've been doing shit like this for a couple hundred years now, in various ways, to less degrees of severity and accomplishment. But I imagine there has to be some soldier in the Civil War or something who's fully decomposed that had something stuck in his face. Oh, jeez. G cup in high school. I have I have a partner who whatever, doesn't matter, not important. Third Macau, thank you very much for following. Yeah, anyway, we have gotten off track. Mar-a-Lago face, coming soon to a Dead Domain Negro. In his last 3 elections, so this is Josh Shapiro. What kind of Democrat can win in Pennsylvania? Outperformed other. This already reminds me a little bit of Pete Buttigieg. Mayor Pete has talked. God, what a shithead that dude is. Really tried to make it all about himself with Mamdani. Is talking about how I don't agree with his policies, but I was a mayor too at one point, and people counted me out. And it's like, what are you doing now, Pete? Don't try to make Mamdani about you, dude. Fucking what? Stop. Oh. Centrist Dems govern several states that President Trump won in 2024, including Michigan's Gretchen Whitmer, who won office on a promise to fix the damn roads, and Kentucky's Andy Beshear, who has championed a bipartisan Team Kentucky approach. Shapiro intrigues me because in an era of widespread distrust in government, he has become the most popular politician in the nation's most important battleground state by insisting government can work. Well, I mean, like, I feel in the abstract it's something we're all kind of aware of. Like, yeah, we all know government can work. The problem is that it doesn't want to. And when it does work, it's not usually in the interest of the people who are electing it. Here we go. Tuesday's election results have supercharged debate among Dems whether the road to political recovery runs towards the middle or the left. Okay, let me... Geez, I wonder, does it run towards something that is economically and politically populist and has been overwhelmingly, resoundingly popular? Every time there has been some kind of candidate who is advertised to be more progressive, advertised to have these, quote unquote, democratic socialist policies of some degree, every time they're called a communist, every time the entire establishment tries to shut them down and ignore them and lock them out, and we get nothing but fucking, like, bangers like Mamdani, like AOC, like Bernie. And again, say what you want about so many of their policies, the things they've agreed to, things they've aligned with over time. The core concept is that they are running on these platforms that are further to the left than the establishment Democrats. And it's always fucking popular. They can always out-argue them. They can always out-represent their constituency. There is a reason why they continue getting elected and re-elected. The only reason that things like this are a question is because of the entrenched power of the Democratic Party and the way it lies with people like Schumer and Jeffries. Because at their core, like we saw with the vote, they will vote more in the interests of capital than people. It is a court's end. When people talk about how the Dems have moved further to the right and the Overton window has shifted, it's because now we have Democrats who are working from the same... If you can hear that weird sound, that's my dog she's giving me her ball to go through. We now have Democrats essentially running their government, running their offices from the same framework that Mitt Romney caught shit for way back in the day of saying, like, well, corporations are people too. Right? Very frustrating. Luzika Dumitru, thank you very much for subscribing. Great. Yeah. Mamdani's victory in New York does not demonstrate the visibility of progressive candidates outside of a few big cities and coastal states. One of the things I talked about, so I spoke with Cameron Rolwitz, who is a Senate candidate in rural Texas, deep red Texas. The interview was, honestly, it's one of my favorite interviews I've ever done. I'm looking forward to doing more interviews. Go check it out on the channel if you haven't yet. Because not only does it give a lot of insight into the electoral process for somebody who wants to get into politics, who is tired of sitting on the sidelines, somebody might be even watching this right now who has thought about, maybe I could run for something. Because Cameron is a well-read, but ultimately just a normal dude. Normal guy with a wife, with a kid, like trying to make it like so many other people, who is wanting to represent a more progressive agenda for Texas. Texas, a place that has been gerrymandered to fuck and run into the ground by Greg Abbott. Now, when they talk about these ideas, Mamdani's victory in New York does not demonstrate the viability of progressive candidates. Let me tell you why that's fucking bullshit. Because what they're going to talk about, probably, is how that doesn't really work for a place that isn't as culturally diverse, that doesn't have as many immigrants, that, you know, doesn't have to struggle with the rising rent and these things that big cities have to deal with. The problem is that the problem with that logic is that all of the things Zoran did, when you break them down to the bare essentials of what his campaign was actually working towards, can be achieved anywhere in the country. It doesn't matter if there isn't as diverse of a population. In a lot of red states there are, especially in the South. It doesn't matter if the rent isn't rent controlled or whatever. Because at the end of the day, the problems that are happening in one part of the country might be happening less in another, but they are still fucking happening. Like, if I say, damn, yeah, the grocery prices are really fucking killing me, like I did at the beginning of the stream, which, by the way, if you want to help me get dog food, go donate to the Ko-Fi. Sorry, I just remembered that because my dog keeps trying to push her ball into my hand. You can probably hear it on the stream. But that doesn't mean that my issues are isolated to Washington fucking state. Right? Like, one of the things I talked about Cameron Rolwitz about was the rollbacks, and like, how are you as a progressive candidate, as somebody who is going to be called a socialist or a commie or whatever, how are you going to approach these issues that the Trump administration is now having an effect on, through like the big beautiful bill, through cutting spending, through cutting funding, for example, to rural hospitals, which is something happening across fucking America. And you're going to tell me that progressives who want those hospitals funded are going to have a hard time talking to the people who are most affected, their constituencies, ostensibly, who would be their constituencies, who would be their voters, the same people who are going through less funds in their state and local government, in their infrastructure, in their schools, in their communities, less money in their pocket to help feed their family, to help pay off their debts that they're accruing. All of the things Zoran was talking about for the working class of America can be translated to the working class anywhere, because we're all facing the same fucking struggles. So anybody who argues like, well, this just isn't feasible, it's just not, it just wouldn't work in a more rural area, or in these battleground states, like, of course it's going to work in New York. I call them quitters. I would call them liars, but I think it is more fucking vicious to call them quitters, because they would rather fucking roll over. Yeah, no, Queer Cranium, I don't even know who's running against Kat, but she has my vote. Kat Abigazala, another fucking person. Cameron reached out to me and was like, hey, do you have anybody else I should like reach out to, I should contact, I should talk to? And I was like, I don't know many other people who have their own podcasts. I don't know many other people who like, I certainly don't know many creators specifically that are in Texas. But I told Cameron to reach out to Kat, because Kat is somebody who, you know, I had an interview with, and was another great interview. If you haven't watched my interview, listen to my interview with Kat Abigazala I did for the What the Fuck Now podcast that's on the channel. Another really great progressive candidate. And like, Kat is somebody who is another progressive kind of darling right now. And I fully think not for no other reason. Like, she's got really good policy. She has a understanding of the landscape and what it's going to take to really change the Democratic Party from within, and to primary and vote out these fuckers. But also because that is somebody who is standing on the front lines of shit. Like, there was a video of Kat, we've watched it on the stream, of Kat getting, like, dropped on cement from several feet up by fucking ICE agents. She had a bruise for weeks that was, like, deep purple on about half of her fucking body. Like, I don't... Who can give a fuck about... No, well, maybe let's move towards the center. When you've got people who won't return calls from their constituencies, I know who I'm going with. If my options are a career politician who is going to just cave on everything like the Democrats right now are, who is going to keep being like, yes, we stand firm against Trump, and the most they'll do is write a fucking letter, like, wagging their finger at him, or more progressive candidates who are arguing for the working class, who are arguing for better and more livable wages, more livable cities, more walkable cities, putting more money in infrastructure back in communities, more money in job training, so that we can actually have a more functional society, not just for the fucking rich. And additionally, you're telling me that those progressive candidates are the type to go out, beat the street like Mamdani fucking did, going door to door, introducing himself to everybody. Like, Cuomo wasn't doing that shit. Cuomo was making fucking AI videos. Like, that's the establishment Dem, right? That's the, oh, he knows what he's doing. But then you have somebody like Zoran, who isn't just going to say, like, yes, no, I believe it's important to celebrate pride, and fucks off. He's going to go on podcasts with drag queens. He's going to go hang out at gay bars. He's going to go actually experience and immerse himself at least a little bit in queer and trans culture and try and understand and be able to articulate those positions and understand why he's standing with somebody. Not just that, well, this is the thing you do because it's popular, because it polls well. I would rather have a progressive candidate like Kat Abigzala, who is willing to go out there, have guns fucking pointed at her face, be assaulted by ICE through no fault of her own, but is willing to put her body on the line for her fellow person because it's the right fucking thing to do. Not because it polls well, not because it'll be a really great photo op. Like, do you think any of these Dems, the establishment ones, the ones who are being argued about here, if you offered them the chance, it's like, hey, do you want to go get dropped on your fucking ass on camera for the world to see, and you won't be able to walk for a fucking week over ICE detention centers? Do you think they're going to say yeah? No. That's the difference between the establishment attitude and the new wave of progressives who are coming for that establishment. And they know that. There is no amount of fucking shitty TikTok hack videos. There's no amount of celebrity endorsements. And Kamala showed this. There's no amount of playing along with the political game that everybody is fucking tired of that is going to save this Democratic establishment. And right now, they know they are on life support, and it is a matter of time until they are undone. Everything Democrats want to accomplish is downstream for figuring out how to persuade voters in places like Pennsylvania and in a bunch of places where the Democratic brand is held in even lower regard, that the party deserves another chance. Why? Okay, let's talk about for a second why the Democratic brand is held in lower regard. Why were there, and again, contrast this with Mamdani, who had like people who were MAGA voters who were tired of Trump, who were switching over to voting for Mamdani in New York. New Yorkers who were tired of Trump. And were like, you know what? I'm going to try this guy. But yes, sure. As opposed to the Democrat Party line, the party brand is being useless. It is lying to your face and not delivering on your promises. That's what Democrats are known for. Their entire image right now is simply not being as bad as Trump. That's the big fucking Kamala debacle. Everybody's like, well, you should have voted for Kamala. Was just going after all of the conservative talking points and not being a fucking lunatic about it. That was what they were selling. Capitulation, not progress. As Pennsylvania Attorney General in 2020, Shapiro repeatedly battled Trump's legal assaults. How did that work out? How'd that go? On the integrity of the state's election results, delivering the kind of confrontations that many Democrats crave. But the way to beat Mr. Trump is to show Americans you have a better alternative. Shapiro's version of the Dem Party is more patriotic than the GOP. Fucking Christ, man. And in some sense, more conservative. Fucking... I'm going to go low tier God. I can't help it. My throat hurts so bad after that ramble. I'm so sorry. It is a party that wants to improve public institutions rather than blowing them to smithereens and to carry forward the basic elements of the American experiments. Liberal democracy, a pluralistic society. Ha, there you go. Free markets regulated in the public interest. History teaches that people will readily sacrifice democracy to regain a sense of safety and stability. Mr. Shapiro recognizes the urgency of convincing people that democracy is still a better bet. I'm just... Standard set of economic development, public safety proposal with some distinctly democratic touches. Subsidies for the redevelopment of office buildings and housing for the homeless. More police office... Dog! Yeah, the future of the Democratic Party. More police officers and increased collaboration with social service agencies. Man. All right, I'll be right back. I'm going to run to the restroom real quick. This article just came out. I didn't hear shit about this. This is fucking crazy, dude. Telling people repeatedly that what he is doing to help them, doing it as fast as possible. Great. Government often doesn't work because the left cares more about procedures than outcomes, and the right opposes the outcomes. One side wants to start building a modern railroad between LA and San Francisco just as soon as all the paperwork is done. The other side wants to kill the project. Neither approach helps move people between cities. Shapiro rejects the proceduralism of the left and nihilism of the right. In recent conversation, he told me that he was someone who believes the government can be a force for good in people's lives. The best case for Mr. Shapiro's brand of politics is that it works. The last time he lost an election was in 1990 when he was an 11th grader. Great, so he's one of these fucking psychopaths who fantasized about another thing you don't want actually in your elected offices is somebody who has been fantasizing about having elected power since they were a fucking child. I think Pete Buttigieg was the same type of person. Like, just these bizarre Ivy League, usually, sociopaths who have just spent their entire lives living this bizarre Kennedy fixation with being elected and being president one day. It's like, no. You know who I want? I want somebody like Cameron Rolwitz. I want somebody like Kat. I want somebody like Zohran Mamdani. I want somebody like AOC and Bernie. Somebody who comes from a working class, blue-collar background. Somebody who is articulate and educated enough to make informed decisions and understand how those decisions affect their constituency, but somebody who also understands the struggles that everyday Americans are going through. I do not want these fucking career politicians. This entire argument of like, well, this is why we trust people who they know what they're doing and look at their track record and stuff. It is why the inverse of that worked so well to like put the guise of populism on Trump. Because you can look at Trump and go, well, they were able to, in 2016, be like, he's an outsider, he's rogue, he doesn't play by the system's rules. And for conservatives who were likewise tired of these fucking milquetoast centerline like dipshits that they were offering, like fucking Marco Rubio and like Jeb Bush. And Dems, this is we're still dealing with that. Like the Democratic establishment, the Republican establishment understood that at least having the guise, the veneer of populism, even though what it really was is corporate America in the most clear sense invading the political system, with somebody who was just perpetuating more, tax cuts, more profiteering, like all that shit. On the other side, you need the left answer to that, which is to actually have non-career people, but who understand what the fuck they're doing. This is one of the things, going back to briefly talking about, like what's frustrating about Destiny is Destiny advocating for career politicians. Like, well, don't you want somebody who knows what they're doing? It's like, no, because look at their track record and the shit they haven't gotten done. Like the let's just keep doing the same thing argument doesn't fucking work when, as we're doing the same thing, the lines keep going up on people not making as much money, on people being impoverished, not being able to feed their fucking families, on test scores in schools continually dropping. Like, the same way as before is not working. And the left-leaning, this broad kind of coalition movement of left economic populism and progressivism are the only ones who seem to be understanding that we cannot just go with the Democrat party line, because this is a deeper issue than just one and two-sided party politics. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to run to the restroom really quick. Okie dokie, chat. Jesus Christ. What did I say about Ivy League? Graduating from Georgetown Law and working on Capitol Hill, Shapiro returned to Pennsylvania in 2004. Most immediate challenges running for re-election may not be much of a challenge. Has the shutdown ended? No, I think it is still being advanced. The resolution to end the shutdown and start refunding shit, I believe. He's a career politician in a country that disdains the profession. Yeah, no shit. A practicing Jew in a nation that prefers presidents who are at least okay, I thought that was gonna go in a Zionist direction. That's my bad. Ox Packard, thank you for 100 bits. Unlike Republicans, who, to be fair, is still predominantly made up of people who don't know what a political compass even looks like or what the fuck so many important words mean, Democrats depend on their voter base and others outside of it, perceiving left and right as these terms that were created alongside the American duopoly of two neighboring right-leaning ideologies. They need centrism to be the left and for centrists to be shy conservatives. Yeah, basically. Like it's one of those things that is so frustrating because I don't want to talk anymore about Destiny. I'm gonna. Mr. Bear has angered some Democrats by backing school vouchers and defending Israel. Although he's defending Israel, although he's criticized its government. Pennsylvania, while similarly demographically to swing states like Michigan and Wisconsin, is less racially diverse than the U.S. as a whole, and it particularly has a relatively small share of Latinos. Perhaps his biggest challenge is simply that a lot of progressives don't want a centrist. I cannot fucking imagine why. Like, one of the biggest problems with this outlook and what you're gonna see, especially moving into this election season, with so many of these opinion articles that you're gonna see from New York Times, from Wall Street Journal, from all these other places, is that they will not address the culpability of the centrist and Democrat establishment in what is fucking happening now. They will not address how all the Democrats, we have to stick by all these norms and standards and practices. How a group of people who spent all of Trump's first term being, well, this is unprecedented. I cannot believe this. And then they, to try and counteract that, spent all of Biden's term being like, well, we're gonna do investigations and we're gonna see if there was anything, and we're gonna jump through all these hoops and all this bureaucracy, and we're gonna make sure that everything lines up before we can charge him with anything. And then now where the fuck are they? They are right fucking back to being, well, this is just unprecedented. I can't believe it. I don't know why I went into Nixon there. And it's like, can we not do like just a skosh, just a little sprinkling, a doodling, if you will, of introspection about how the fuck we keep arriving at this same point? Because if we are unable to, sure seems like we're just gonna keep fucking coming back to this. Like let's not do the popular thing that will get votes guaranteed. Let's keep doing the shit we've been doing because it hasn't been working, but maybe it will, is basically the game plan here. Healthy political parties cannot be solely progressive or conservative. They must be both. What? Okay, you know what? Again, this is one of those things that when we're talking about debating, when we're talking about at the beginning of this, we're talking about how you can make these assertions in an abstract void where we don't have to deal with tangible reality. For example, in an ideal society, the most idealized form, the version of American history and society that you learn about in grade school, right? Where it's like, and these people are on this side, and you have the system of checks and balances, and the executive and the judicial and all this shit. Sure, yeah. Everybody would be a little bit one side, a little bit the other. Common sense would reign. It reminds me of the first. This is a deep cut. the first track, I believe, on Ice-T's metal band Body Count, the self-titled first album Body Count, opens, I believe the track opens with a recounting of, you know, wanting to live in this idyllic world that you see on The Cosby Show, Ozzie and Harriet. Cops would get cats out of trees, and you'd be able to see all your friends live to old age. And there's this moment where Ice-T, like the fucking the beat kicks in. There's a fucking kick-ass bass line, because Ice-T just goes, but unfortunately, and he yells into the mic, shit ain't like that. That's kind of what this is like. Where it's like, yeah, it would be, this would be nice if we all lived in a fucking, who is the West Wing dickhead? West Wing newsroom, the fucking liberal shitheel. Who's the writer? I'm gonna feel so stupid when somebody says Aaron Sorkin. Yep, thank you. It is this Aaron Sorkin version of America that would be like, yeah, sure, it would be great if we lived there. We don't, though. We have Nazi posting on the Department of Homeland Security Twitter account. We have people who believe in ghosts and ghouls and demons possessing their political enemies. Like, it goes back to this thing where, like, Destiny will argue from the point of view of, and maybe this is just the part of the liberal mind virus, where people will argue in good faith and rationality. They will base their arguments in a reality that is not tangible to the person they're arguing against. Like, it's not just that we don't live in a world like this, it's that we live in a world that is actively, the other party you expect to be rational is actively irrational. Right? Democrats may prefer to describe themselves as conservationists, committed to protecting national environment, or preservationists, opposed to development that disrupts established communities. But those are fundamentally conservative projects devoted to protecting what already exists. That is actually not true. Like, the idea of protecting ecology might have, they're talking about Franklin Roosevelt created Social Security. It's no longer progressive to defend the program. It soon will be owner than all of its beneficiaries. It is now, because guess what? Things change. Alignments towards certain attitudes fucking change. Because now we live in a corporatist society where they want to ransack all of these public lands, where corporations can enact untold toxic damage on the economy, on the environment. Thank you, Trump, for constantly rolling back regulations, chopping EPA regulations at the fucking knees. And the right wing has spent the last couple decades championing that as virtuous, as our natural right, and of course our right to profit. Which means that it has shifted from being something that might technically, definitionally, well, yeah, no, this is actually by the definition, this is conservative, to guess who it fucking falls on to try and defend that. And oh, what a fucking bang up job they're doing. No general organization embodying the political tendencies. Conservatism is a bulwark against radicalism, a defense of society against the ravages of men who had lost their moral compasses. Is he really? I love capitulating to the idea of like saying, yeah, no, I get they have some good points about how crazy, and like that feels like what he's doing here is like, yeah, no, the crazy woke lefties did get really out of hand. Nehemia, thank you very much for $5. But don't you remember the radical right's just a small fringe of the party, and they can all be taken down by a witty clapback / quoting the Bible. That has worked out so good so far. Oh yeah, no, Bill Maher would love this shit. Yeah, no, like here, this is just Bill Maher. Bill Maher, the best way to make America great again is to double down on the things that got us here in the first place. Not incidentally, these are also the things that voters routinely say they care about the most. That's the most effort I'm going to put into a Bill Maher. We were the most educated nation in the world. We need to, we need to invest in education. We need to invest in infrastructure. Boomer. Yeah, I know the feeling. That section took a lot more out. Now that I'm like resting my voice, I might have to wait for some other stuff for the fuck for next time. Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, we can laugh at Kim Davis. Let's all laugh at that dumb bitch together. That'll be Kim Davis will be my palate cleanser, or what happened with the Supreme Court decision. Supreme Court denies request to revisit same-sex marriage decision. This was something that a lot of people. Oh, fucking Times! Come on, man. Yeah, Advocate. Thank you, Advocate. Kim Davis is relevant again? Nope. She was desperately reaching from some shred of relevancy. G. Papaglio. Papagio. The despair is getting to me. Not even absolute Batman annual can cure me. Yeah, I haven't picked that up yet. I need to God, I wish I owned a time machine. I would fucking love to tell younger me things. Yeah, for those who don't know, former Kentucky clerk Kim Davis, the one-time county official who refused to issue marriages licenses to same-sex couple after the landmark 2015 ruling in Obergefell v. Hodges. Quote, the petition for a writ of certiorari is dead, the justice order. By denying review, the court let stand lower court rulings that found Davis personally liable for violating the constitutional rights of same-sex couples. The move leaves marriage equality intact, marking a quiet but significant moment in a decade-long legal battle over the scope of religious exemptions in public office. Honestly, I am slightly surprised that it didn't advance any further than that. Just because of the state of the Supreme Court, but I think it came at a very opportune time where, like, I think a lot of justices and a lot of conservatives understand the cultural pushback that is happening, the pendulum already starting to swing back fucking hard against Trump and the Project 2021 agenda. Moth, thank you very much for $5. We stand against radical change. Activates Nazism. Democrats don't change anything. Yeah. And I think, if anything, this comes down to some people understanding that, some people somewhere in the political structure understanding that they are fighting too many culture wars on too many fronts, and something has to fucking give. And this is very much, I think, a let sleeping dogs lie moment, where it's like, dog, we've got so many other irons in the fire, even though I know, like, Russ Vought and all the other fucking Project 2025 sickos would love to see this go through. The little bit of catharsis it does give to see somebody, though, like Kim Davis, who has been, you know, coasting on what little fame she got from this, just smacked down publicly. That's pretty good. That's pretty good for me. Not gonna lie. Oh my god. All right. I think. Let me read a little bit more. Davis, who rose to prominence, blah blah blah. Described the legal questions in Davis's appeal about emotional distress damages as technical and disconnected from the broader constitutional rights, which is very true. Why would you? Okay. Said advocates had remained prepared, quote, ready for all possibilities. Quote, today's decision is not surprising given the long-shot status of Davis's claim, but it's a relief that the Supreme Court will not hear it given the current makeup of the court itself. Which is their way of saying, like, that's their way of saying, the National LGBTQ Task Force Communications Director, that's their way of saying, dog, I'm just as surprised as you. What the fuck? We hope that this settles the matter and marriage equality remains the law of the land for same-sex couples. Wow! Let's not be naive. Our opponents are well-resourced and determined. They will keep trying to undo the progress we've made since Lambda Legal was founded 52 years ago. Now is not the time to let down our guard. Amen. Many trans people face devastating legal challenges to their marriages and child custody, spousal benefits, and inheritance cases, often with crushing outcomes that separated trans parents from their children and left many trans spouses or spouses married to a trans person's marriage with no protection. Obergefell eliminated those uncertainties and provided transgender spouses and their families with much-needed stability and security. So a little bit of good news. Thank you very much, Nehemiah, for another $5. Kim Davis is radioactive, but like in the sense, and yes, we will watch that for you, Stella, because I know you've sent so many things in. You've been so good. This will be our last little thing before I find somebody to go raid. God damn. I kind of went off on the Josh Shapiro thing, and it killed my throat. Oh, it's a baby cow. Hey, Raider.
Ellie. Hey, baby. Hi.
Big dogs sometimes.
Hello.
Big cow soccer ball. What a silly... He doesn't even know what to do. Those things have got to be so fucking heavy duty. Holy shit, for a bull to be able to play with that. What that cow doing? Look at those big horns. Oh, look at the run. So proud. Doop, 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 doop. Little baby. They say, I go zoom. I go zoom. Oh. You gotta be fucking careful. Look at those horns. Holy shit.
Oh boy, oh boy. What a friendly boy. What a friendly boy. Oh my goodness. Oh.
This is a fascinating thing. Ramstein, I've found pork to be my thing. I don't know if it's just locally, but like I haven't bought chicken in a minute. I've been cooking pork chops for dinner for myself and Koa because pork is like way cheaper than chicken locally. I find it fascinating when people run, oh my God, thank you very much, Dexter Bunko for $20. I don't really have anything profound to say. Thanks for the cute animal videos. Cheers. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I feel bad about eating meat. Fuck chicken. Those guys are assholes. Well, no, I think there's, I don't feel bad about it because I think there is like, there is a natural cycle, but the thing I find most interesting is the way that people will form bonds with animals. And there's this kind of movement that I am so fascinated about. I would love to do, like, if again, one of my like pie in the sky, if I had actual documentary go places film shit money, I would love to do a documentary on the like humane farms and slaughterhouses that will, you know, because it's no secret that the American slaughter industry is fucking horrifying. If you've ever looked up the way McDonald's treats their corporate farms, and like it really is no way for an animal to live. But the other side of that has been this much more expensive, but in my opinion, much more ethical way to engage with eating meat, and it usually involves it's kind of like. The thing about it is it's kind of fucked up because it usually involves people treating these animals like pets, like members of their family, like giving them a good life and nurturing them, you know, from babies. And like it's stuff like this, like cuddling with them, getting to know them, because every animal has its own personality. And the thing I think that's really beautiful about so much of like videos like this, the thing that I stop and I love my fucking Instagram feed just feeds me goat videos like this, and I think it is beautiful because it's usually on these farms where these weird fucking creatures, they are so weird, and we have just reached this kind of symbiosis with a lot of them. We've reached this equilibrium where in a lot of cases they trust us, we trust them, but it is also like there is this circle of life that takes place. And I think that the way to try and create a more humane cycle that is not just, you know, treating these creatures who, like, even just looking at the way cows and pigs and all this stuff, who are these like elegant beasts, these beautiful creatures, and treating them with this kind of respect and dignity, understanding that like that meal that you're eating came from something, came from somewhere, is, I don't know, I feel like it is a more spiritually, and I'm not, you know, not to get too like woo-woo bullshit with it or anything, but to me it is a more spiritually fulfilling way to, I think, engage with like eating meat, you know. Fighting Hobbit for some, but I eat healthier knowing the animal didn't suffer and lived a rich, happy life. Yeah, like that's the thing, is that it's not as profitable as the unethical farms, which is objectively better choice. Well, it makes it harder to eat them, doesn't it? Maybe. I think so. Here's the other thing I think there's a having been raised on farms, or you know, I had family that ran farms. My family was a farm family for a couple generations, and so I would spend summers and stuff on farms. But spending a lot of time around farms as a youth, you know, the things you go to farms and see, it's like, oh, there's horses, there's cows, like that's fucking cool. And then, you know, you come back next year, those cows aren't there anymore. Not the horses, but the cows aren't there anymore. And hey, we got really good steaks for everybody for dinner. And so I think like when you are in these places, when you a small farm, not like a factory farm by any chance. So, you know, you're talking like 8-10 cows. When you're in these places, there is this kind of accepted way that's how life works. That's food one day. And I think it is, again, this kind of beautiful symbiosis that when you look at I'll try to say this without getting too, again, woo fucking like white midlife crisis, eat, pray, love about it. But there is something I've always found so culturally beautiful about the way, and it wasn't just indigenous Americans, by the way, but people all across the world, my ancient Scandinavian ancestors, for example. But like that ethos of using every part of the animal, of having that relationship to the spirituality and you know, this kind of paganism, but seeing the spirits of animals in things in the world, tying that into religion. There's just something so much more, I think, respectful about I think it would be a far much more beautiful world if Christianity never took over and we did not just have this constant like, yes, God wants us to go and conquer and kill everything, and instead the pagan religions that emphasized an equilibrium and a balance with the world and a respect for the things that are living around us, rather than an emphasis on the constant subjugation and chewing up of everything because, oh, we are just so superior. I think that is a far more beautiful world to imagine, I think. My problem is that humans have the ability to make food from anything that has enough nutrients to sustain ourselves. At that point, I don't see any justification for killing animals for food. Well, I mean, like, again, it's one of those things in abstract, yes, but the systems are not in place for everybody to take part in that at scale, is the problem. And you have companies like Beyond Meat and things that have tried to do that, but I think there's a broader... There is a broader problem with, like, and this gets back to, like, American treatlerism, where all Americans, we love our fucking cheeseburgers, and, oh, how dare you try and take away our French fries. And so, like, if you could, and people have, like, I've had Beyond Meat burgers, and, like, pretty fucking good. We've gotten to a point where you are correct that there are enough facsimiles out there that are convincing enough that, like, I could eat nothing but Beyond Meat for the rest of my life. I'd probably not notice it. Probably be fine. But it is such a propaganda emphasis for so many fucking people, and it's so frustrating because it gets chalked up to, if you ever see like the "you will eat the bugs" thing, like fucking Shoe on Head did a dog whistle about. Like that's one of Alex Jones's big dog whistles, is like, oh, you know, the globalists, they want you to eat the bugs, and they want you to, you're not going to eat any beef anymore, and like all that shit. And it's just very frustrating because it's like, it's all fucking protein at the end of the day. It's all meat and beans, and it's all matter going in and coming out, and it's just very dumb and frustrating. But yeah, it's one of those things that is not. I think we need to undergo a massive cultural shift towards that kind of stuff because, yeah, the meat industry is unsustainable. And the eat the bugs thing is just a vast oversimplification of what is, like, objectively maybe a little bit healthier for you. Like, it's probably, not probably, it is healthier to eat patties made of vegetables and proteins than it is to just keep shoveling greasy red meat into your arteries. Yeah, it's the thing of picking up on one thing that progressives discuss and turning it into a batshit conspiracy. Yeah. And it's not eating bugs. It's one of those things where it's like, no, they'll break down these kind of proteins and break down this and this and that and the other. And it's just like, whatever. Lab-made meat. I would try lab-made meat for real. I would try lab-made meat. Lab-made meat is I'm so fascinated by it. Just the like I'm fascinated every time I see one of these little Cronenbergian fucking petri dishes growing this little like meat sack. I'm like, and maybe it's just me being a weird morbid sicko, but I'm just like, I wonder how ranch would go with that. I wonder. But beef tallow, the loathsome whale juice drink. Yeah, I think the lab meat is so interesting. What do you mean you 3D print meat? Yeah. The funny part about lab grown meat is that like we already put meat into shapes, and we have for years. Like people get so bent out of shape about lab grown meat, and we've been all eating fucking reconstituted chicken protein paste and calling it chicken nuggets as if it's the most normal thing in the world for children to consume for decades now. So the idea of like people being like, what do you mean it was grown in a lab? It's like, have you seen how nuggies are made? Have you seen how nuggies are made? Huh? Anywho, let's go find somebody to raid. And thank you all very much for sticking with us tonight. Oh, I have to finish the video. Yes, I do. All right, I will finish the video while I'm looking.
My goodness. Oh, oh, thank you. Oh, what a sweet boy you are. Thank you. And you're getting my shorts all wet just like our kids do.
Look at that big bump on his. Well, what a goobus.
Oh. What do I have in my? I don't have anything in there for you. Just keys and stuff like that. That's it. Oh, you just turned my cell phone.
What a baby. All right, everybody, we're going to go over, say hi to friend of the show, Connor Eats Pants. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night. Do not forget to stay tuned to the channel. I got plenty of things coming soon. And if you haven't yet, please go watch my latest videos. Go like, subscribe, comment, share. I've been having a hell of a hard time with views and stuff lately. So donations to the Ko-Fi are very much appreciated. Donations to the channel are very much appreciated as I'm in this kind of like weird transitionary phase. But yeah, thank everybody. And I hope you all have a wonderful